am so happy with how this looks for the Rangers. We have a pitcher, Jack Leiter, and he is a dude.
Athletic enough to get to any ball. And while I do think his hitting is worse than Derek Jeter, it's not that far off.
So he reached double digits. The big question has been answered.
It just leaves it to where I don't believe that the Canadians had a shot.
The steal of the draft is Will Taylor to the Texas Rangers in the 19th round after he signs with them.
We'll see what happens during his career. It's important to keep his Scotty around, Chris Middleton. It's important to keep his Dennis Rodman, which I believe is like Drew Holiday, another important defender, a guy who's a team builder. And maybe that's PJ Tucker. I don't know who's the Dennis Rodman of the team.
I really don't like the Clippers just kind of sending it in when they're like, good job, Manfred. You won't get many of those for the rest of the year.
And you can quote this on me. There is no way the Orioles or Red Sox make the playoffs this season. There's no way. There's no way.
You're not mentioning 2006. You can mention the other people. Not 2006. You already took your math shot.
Well, it's also like you think, oh, just because I bought the best soap doesn't mean your room's going to be clean. Just because you bought the best vacuum doesn't mean the floor is going to be not dirty.
And then you have the Diamondbacks. And then Giants, I have them above the Rockies because I don't have any idea what the Rockies are doing.
Sam Bennett's someone I really expected to be a better player.
There will be a Rodgers playing for Green Bay, even though he may not be the quarterback, but it's still unknown there. Austin is giving me the dead stare, so I guess don't mention Aaron Rodgers to him right now.
Yeah, so we can compare a rookie QB to a toddler.
Corey Perry will give some veteran presence to the Canadians and to just help give some insights on what he did last year.
I agree 100%, and the reason why I agree is because this is a terrible trade for the long term.
What would you have said if I bet you $100 at the end of the round robin and start of the playoffs that the Stars would be in the Stanley Cup playoffs or Stanley Cup finals?
Hi, this is Kelly Forbes with the Dallas Stars, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NHL Opinions of the Week for November 21st. We are doing top 5 things that happened this season already, and then bottom 5. We're going to start off with bottom first, and we'll end it off on a happy note, as the bottom it's not good. So I'll start with my number 5. We're going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. My 5 is Kucherov going back on the LTIR, because that could mean like that adds to conspiracy theories, and I would not like to think that the Lightning are using that to their advantage or abusing that by putting Kucherov on and then spending money, and then it gets to the playoffs and then Kucherov comes back with the better players that they paid for while he was gone. So that's why it's my number 5. What's your number 5, Austin?
My number 5 was the first 10 games by the Arizona Coyotes. They got off to a terrible start, and it was ugly hockey. It definitely was a bottom 5 moment, but don't worry, they're on my top 5 as well.
So now my number 4 is the COVID outbreaks that are happening and how that could affect the Olympics. Because I think it'd be nice if we could see the NHL players in the Olympics, but they may not do it just because of the COVID outbreaks and how they need to make up those games. So that's my number 4. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is another team on a cold start, the Canadians. They had a great season last year, at least postseason, as they made it to the finals, and everything has gone wrong since, and it's been ugly to watch.
Now, my 3rd is Carey Price taking a step back for reasons. It's just sad to see what we saw him do, but it's good that he did take that step back. It's just sad that he's going through it, and I hope he gets better.
Yeah, that's definitely a bottom 5 moment. My number 3 was your number 5, Kucherov. His injury, what that means for the NHL, what are the Lightning doing? Is it legit, and is it just a coincidence for the second straight year? The same thing basically happens, or is there something more sinister behind it? It's a bottom 5 moment because he's a great player. Just in general, if you don't think they're cheating, he's a great player. And for him being out for this extended amount of time, we don't get to see that greatness be shown on the ice, and that always sucks. But there could be something more sinister behind it. I don't necessarily know if it is, but it would definitely be a story if it was.
Yeah, my number two is the death of Matthias Kavlenik. It's just whenever it just stinks for a team to lose a player, and just um, like I know he saved the life, and there was all that speculation of him making the last block. So it was just sad to see a player get lost and what the teammates had to go through.
Yeah, I didn't have that on my list because I didn't consider that this season, but I understand why because it carried over. The effect did. My number two was the Penguins starting without Crosby and Malkin. Obviously, they have Crosby back and they'll get Malkin back eventually, but seeing the Penguins down both of them, it's sad. It's telling me where the Penguins are going in the future because eventually Malkin and Crosby will retire and the Penguins won't be as good, but I wasn't a huge fan of the Penguins as I'm a Bruins fan, but I always love watching greatness and the fact that in the soon in the recent future we will be without Crosby and Malkin on the Penguins just a sad sight.
Yeah, and then I know we both have the same number one,
Yeah.
and that's the Chicago Blackhawks scandal. We've talked about it before. It's just so sad to see that that happened, and it took so long for it to get, and it's still getting fixed, or they're still get just all the play like it's not fixed, but it's just what had what happened to Kyle Beach and how it was covered up. Just it's the worst thing.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. I don't even know how that happens in today's day and age. 2010 was not that long ago. Social media was around. I don't know how that can occur, and I don't know how a organization can just say we don't need to worry about that. It just it makes me question the morality of all of it and what was going through their head at the time. But it's a sad thing, and that definitely has to be the worst thing that's happened this season is that coming out and being uh, shown in the light.
yeah. So now that concludes our bottom five. Let's move on to um, our top five of things that have happened. I'm gonna go number five is Jack Eichel to the Knights because it adds to the storyline of what are the Knights going to do with Jack Eichel? How do they fit it? Will they be better or will they not make it far in the playoffs? So I think that's an interesting thing, and I'm happy that happened just to see if there's kind of more chaos in Vegas.
Yeah, that's a good one. Mine is the Sabres' hot start. I'm talking about the first 5 or 6 games there when they were 4-1 so I'll do six. That was great. They were a team that was not supposed to be good at all. Everyone's talking about, oh, they only have bums on their team. Oh, they won't even have Eichel. They won't win a game. And I went out there and said that the goalie would have more wins than them. Uh, well, that remains to be seen if that's going to happen. But I was so happy to see the Sabres hot start. I even though I predicted against them, I never like to see a team be terrible. Uh, it's never fun for the fans of that team or anyone to watch bad hockey or bad sport be played. So, I I I was very very ecstatic when I saw them getting off to the 4-1 start.
Yeah, that is my number four. The Sabres getting off to a hot start. That was just a nice thing for all the reasons. It just stinks when a team is really bad and they just can't win many games, but they got off to a hot start, so they can always look back. And then same thing for fans. It's hard being a diehard fan when the team is going through a very rough patch.
Yeah. My number four is Prime Ovi is back. I love watching greatness and him scoring. Uh, it's a thing of beauty. I don't know if he's going to pass Gretzky. If he stays at this rate, he obviously will, but I don't know if it's possible to stay at this rate, and I don't really care. It's awesome while it's happening in the moment. That's why I think it was last year, right before the Super Bowl, or well, even before that, we were talking about Tom Brady, and I basically said that we have to appreciate the moment. I am so even saying that now about Tom Brady. Tom Brady will retire. Now, if it's in 100 years or two, I don't know, but he will retire. And we just have to appreciate the moment. We have to understand this will never happen again, or it'll be a very long time before it happens again, and just appreciate greatness. I've never been the biggest Ovi fan. I've always been a more Crosby over Ovi, but I'm not gonna I'm not going to care about that. He's a great player, and I love watching records being broken or attempted to be broken. And I love watching greatness. I've never been a big Warriors fan, but when they went on that run, Kevin and I were in the same room when the Raptors won the championship. I was rooting for the Warriors, wasn't I?
You and I were in the same room? I don't think we were in the same room.
We were at our friend's house watching Game 6. Did you not go to that? I'm
I don't
not. We had
think I
like
did.
8 people over.
I don't think I was there. I think I was at a
You
camp.
most definitely were there.
I think I would have remembered it.
How were you
I
not
think I was
there?
at a
We had
camp.
like if
I think I was at a
Josh
camp.
went,
I was at a camp.
are you sure about that?
Yes, I am sure.
How did we get 8 people if you? I don't know. Well, when the are you sure? I
Yes, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure I was at a camp.
That's weird. That's just weird. But wow. Well, I was rooting for the Warriors just to get the point across. I wanted the Warriors to win to continue uh the greatness that was being shown. Another reason was I just felt like, I mean, with everybody getting hurt, I wanted them to defy the odds. Uh, I never was a big Tom Brady fan until he started proving everyone wrong. And when everyone hates a player, that's normally when I start liking him. If it's for a good reason. If it's for like, oh, everybody hates this player because he's winning, that's normally when I start to like the player because uh, they're defying the odds. And I love seeing anyone do that. Makes them seem superhuman. And at this point, I don't know if Tom Brady even is human. So
Well, he's definitely not human. Definitely not on the football field. My number 3 is Ovechkin getting top 4. It's just nice to see him getting into the record books, as you mentioned. So, what's your number 3?
my number 3 is the Coyotes beating the Blues. The Coyotes, like I said, they were going to be in my bottom 5, but they're going to be in my top 5 too. It was awesome watching them beat the Blues. I apologize for all the Blues fans, but the Blues were considered a contender, a good, heartfelt story because were about to trade Tarasenko, but then Tarasenko starts playing good, and the entire team starts playing good, and they start winning games. But the Coyotes beat them, and that's enough for me. That's enough. That's enough enjoyment for the Coyotes for the entire season. If they never win another game over a good opponent, I'm fine. That was worth it. That was worth it, and that definitely made me smile.
Number 2 for me is Ottinger starting and getting called back up. Because I thought they were going to start him, but then they didn't start him, and that just hurts. But him getting called up as he is a very young goalie, and he could be a possible our future goalie in the future. Like hopefully this season, and then he just stays there for a long time. So I just like seeing that for the Dallas Stars.
That's a good one. Mine is Connor and Leon. Obviously McDavid and Draisaitl, if you didn't understand their first names, but they are on a tear. Draisaitl right now is averaging more goals than games played and more assists than games played. So that doesn't even make physical sense. And we have not seen this type of dominance since Mario Lemieux. And there's 2 of them on the same team. No wonder they're top 5 in the league.
Now on to my number 1, and that is the Seattle Kraken getting added. Now we're at a clean 32, and it's just nice to see a new expansion team and just see if they can follow up the last expansion team, what they did. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
that's a very good one. I did not think of that. That was a good one. I went with the Ducks. The Ducks have been a good story. I almost put Ryan Getzlaff, but also Troy Terry's played amazing. Shattenkirk's played amazing. Gibson played amazing. And I hope this never ends. I've never been a big Ducks guy, but I love when a team, a player, a coach. I love when people defy the odds. I just love watching it happen, and right now I'm enjoying that with the Ducks.
Yeah, so that concludes our NHL episode of the week for Opinions of the Week for November 21st. Let us know what you thought about it in the comments. Feel free to tweet us at OutsidersPod21. Let us know what you think. Tweet us at there. And thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.